All right, we are live once again with the CEA Corporate Esports Association. I am joined by the handsome, the omnipresent Behemoth. How you doing?
I don't know. Am I omnipresent? We weren't live last week, Steadfast, so I'm not sure if I'm omnipresent there, but I am here. We're glad to be back. Of course, this is the corporate side of the Corporate Esports Association. This is another week. It's week 7. This is our second week of the split bracket. So, for the first 5 weeks of the season, of course, we did a nice Swiss bracket. Not everyone didn't play everyone, but certainly people played a lot of people. But now we split the bracket up a little bit. The top 4 teams, of course, they're up on their lonesome, fighting amongst themselves to determine who has that number 1 seed, who has that number 4 seed. But we're in a slightly spicier side of things. We are in the part of the tournament where people can get knocked out. We are in what is called the challenger side of the bracket. So it's not placement, it's challenger. These matches matter a little bit more because, again, if you place in the bottom, I want to say it's bottom 4, you actually don't make your way on into the playoffs. If you do, well, you want to stay above that top 4. You also want to get some good seeding. That being said, of course, as we learned last season, starting the playoffs in the challenger side of things is not a death sentence. Absolutely not a death sentence. We saw Shopify go on in and win the entire thing off of that challenger side of the bracket. So certainly it's an opportunity. Certainly it's a little bit spookier, but I do believe that these teams are absolutely up for the task. But we talk about our teams. Steadfast, who do we have facing off today?
Well, we have 2 teams that, as you mentioned, are a little bit lower on the totem pole. One of them, actually both of them, are new to the CEA this year. We have Shopify, their B team, Thrive on Changelings, going up against the Jane Street Janelings, which is a cute little name right there. I like that. And it's kind of makes me... I actually haven't done the research on this, but I think that they are... sorry, not a... I would assume so, not. But there's a street pretty close to where I live called Jane Street, and it's a little bit notorious. And I'm kind of curious as to whether there's any relation there, or it's just a coincidence.
No, they are actually they're a finance company. They do some pretty cool tech finance stuff out of the New York City Wall Street area. I looked them up once or twice because I knew someone in the CEA Discord was nerding out about things. Like, ah, man, my brother loves James Street. Can you put it into word, right? Because apparently they're a really cool company. And from what they do, actually, if you they do a lot of really cool like finance, algorithmic tech stuff. But on top of that, at least what their website says is kind of pretty cool culture. They have, they have a library that they pay you to buy books if they think the company's going to find it useful. They bring in like world-class speakers every month to come talk to, and it's very much more like a research lab that makes a lot of money versus a kind of your standard corporate setup, as far as I can tell. So it's not my field, but I'm a little bit jealous. Seems like a pretty cool company to work for. And they got a StarCraft team too, so that's something.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. That sounds like a really neat initiative, and sounds like it'd be a very, very cool culture to be a part of. I myself do not get paid to read books, so I would love to do so. That sounds like a plan to me. Now, why don't you tell us about the first 2 players we got here, and why one of them is awesome?
Well, talk about things. We do, of course, have Rotsor. I'm told I'm supposed to pronounce that with a Russian accent, but my Russian accent is terrible. So I'll let just you do that for the rest of things. But Rotsor is playing up against Ender, and Rotsor is the exciting one because, yes, he's unranked in StarCraft right now. It's a new season, but he's Diamond 1. But that's not why we're excited. We're excited because for the first time in a little bit, we get a random player, Steadfast. We have no idea what this player is going to be playing coming on up here. So that's always really exciting.
Yes, and it's extra important today because that means that his opponent, who is a Protoss player, is going to have an even more difficult time dealing with that. Anytime that, you're playing against random, there's always an element that makes things a little bit more difficult. But specifically as Protoss, you kind of get pigeonholed a little bit into going for a low ground pylon, or facing the potential wrath of a Zergling Flood, making that expansion just a lot more difficult. Now, a lot of the maps these days, they're not so bad for taking a low ground base, even against something like you know, some kind of aggression. But let's say it's a PvP and your opponent goes for Proxy Void Ray. Well, that's a pretty tough time to defend a low ground expansion if there's no ramp. And 2,000 atmospheres, there's no ramp at the natural. So unless Ender is secretly max packs and has mastered this low ground 1 gate expand, he's could be in for a little bit of trouble if he does end up getting a PvP or even a PvT with something weird.
Now, I think the play here is actually you go for the full-on Estrella build and you expand to the third base, and then wall off, somehow manage to wall off your entire natural main base position, much like, of course, we saw Estrella do against Zergs on Eternal Empire, but, well, that's not even a question, as it's not going to be a Zerg starting on off.
No, it is not. It is going to be a Terran. Spoiler. And we have spawning down in the bottom left position, representing the Shopify the Jane Street Janelings. Damn it, immediately wrong. It is Rotzor. Repping the American Red Cross. Sorry.
Absolutely spawning in the upper right in the green. Of course, representing the Shopify Thrive on Changelings. Give it up to the Rodos player. He is Ender. Not to be confused with the great Canadian tournament organizer, Ender Sword. No.
Or the Filipino player, Ender.
Yes, that player is 2 R's, right? It's 2 E's with 2 R's? No, it's 2 R's. Ender.
I think it's 2 R's, yeah. I think you're right. It should have 2 E's as well, but that's just that's just English. By the way, yeah, very early scout will figure out that it's not a PVZ. It will figure out it's a PVT. And Ender was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going high ground gateway anyway. So good stuff right there. And will work out for him. Doesn't end up getting punished a little bit, as that can happen. Now, as we mentioned, these two teams are a little bit lower on the totem pole, so to speak. So they are going to be kind of scrapping it out to see which one of them can survive in this challenger bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about players being lower on the bracket. What this does mean is builds are maybe a slightly more out of date than you would normally expect. We're not going to, most likely not going to see, say, the parting build that has been taking the world of PvP by storm over the last month. You know, with the 16 gas and everything else. I mean, this is double gas. This is not triple gateway. All those fun shenanigans. We did not see 80 energy stored on that Nexus. So all of those things, we're not going to see things that are maybe quite as cutting edge. Still powerful, but the meta does just not evolve quite as fast as it does in the lower leagues. But of course, Steadfast, you're pointing out something a little bit interesting here. We do have a proxy pylon on the left-hand side of the map. Now this will be, yep, it's going to be Stargate, okay. Oh no, Proxy Robo, and we saw Warp Gate get canceled there. A tricksy move from the Shopify Protoss player here. He goes for Warp Gate. As long as the SCV is scouting, the minute the SCV is dead, he cancels it, says, okay, immediately into a Proxy Robo here. And this is a double Proxy Robo off of 2 bases.
Tell me why, in 10 words or less, tell me why Ender is your favorite player ever.
I saw 2 Robos, and here's the thing, you know what? Double Proxy Gateway, those are some eyes. Proxy Robos, those are, I don't know, they're a more powerful body part coming on in. What I do know, though, is we're going to see some fancy shenanigans here. This is most likely, one of these is going to be for an Immortal. One of these is going to be for the Warp Gate first on in. Then we're going to see maybe double Immortal production. And it should be noted here, Ender is going for Warp Gate behind this. So he will be able to warp in at least 1 Stalker at a time, as he's only on 1 gate. So I'm not actually even sure how useful Warp Gate is here. But he will be able to warp in 1 Stalker, 1 Zealot, or something at a time to try to buffer for these Immortals as they look to do a lot of damage. Now, of course, it's 2 Immortals that 1 tap an SCV. And look at this. Oh, Reaper's going to get in, but it's going to go down. And I don't believe he got it. Yeah, no damage done there whatsoever by Rotzor. And this is absolutely going to blindside the Terran.
This may end up sending up some alarm bells, though. Saw that there was nothing in the main base. Now, a lack of vision is theoretically just as important scout as finding something. Oh, speaking of which, this is going to cause Rotzor to look for this and will find it. And very quick reaction time right there. Excellent move out of Rotzor. And he's going to have double Cyclone and a Medevac. This is kind of the ideal setup if he can get his Cyclone in position. Oh, nobody gets kind of trapped on the front. Oof, almost loses that Cyclone. And, well, the Immortals will pop on out. They're going to find his supply depot, and that will go down for sure. Nice little bit of damage to start things off.
And I apologize. I said 2 shots. It's 3 shots because, of course, SCVs have 5 more HP than any other worker, so it does take a little bit more than, well, Immortals one-tapping things, and that does make this push a little bit less powerful than one might expect it to be. But look at this. Rotsor is reacting to this as if it was Proxy Void Ray. We will see, of course, Mag Field Accelerators coming on in. And I love this. Getting a Viking in the sky as well. That's going to make this push so much less maneuverable here. And now the Cyclones are going to look for the lock-on, and they will be successful here. Now, nice pickup. Will keep everything alive. Got to pick the Adept. The Adept will go down here. And as much as I was liking this for Ender, it's looking damn good here for Rotsor at the moment, as this entire army will get shoved on back here. These Immortals are going to start to go on down. Cyclones are doing a really good job staying alive, and a fantastic micro here from our random Terran player.
Absolutely. There was an opportunity to click down 1 or 2 of those Cyclones, but they do manage to survive, and that is a huge problem. Rotsor has done so much damage, taking out the War Prism with that Viking, chasing it all the way away. That means no breaking of the lock-on. Did manage to keep that one Immortal alive by getting it back to the high ground, but that was so good for Rotsor. And, well, he should definitely be repairing up those Cyclones. He is doing so with a couple of SCVs. And, honestly, Ender, despite the fact that he's on a, well, two Nexus setup, he is so far behind right now, and really does need to find a lot more damage than he has. But with Magfield Accelerator about to finish up and 3 full health Cyclones, that's a tall order.
Absolutely, it is. And yeah, as you said, Magfield Accelerator coming on in. I do like Rotsor's reaction here. Now, he does have to be careful. Warp Prism will travel, as some people do say. I don't know who those people are, but some people do say it. So actually, yeah, this one pylon is going to be a little bit disastrous here, as it will immediately go down, which means no extra observer, no. You're going to lose 2 gateways or 2 warp gates. Sorry, 2 robos and a gateway here. That is a lot of stuff to lose. And yeah, Ender, he's going into something behind this, but you've got to remember, right? He's supply blocked. He has lost all of his tech. He's going to have to rebuild a bunch of gateways at home. He's going to have to rebuild his robos at home. Luckily for him, he still has that. He still has the warp gate. Actually, I'm sorry, he doesn't. Never mind. He does not have that warp gate. But he will have charge. At the very least, he will potentially have +1. It will be a +1 that is behind his opponent.
I'm just kill it. Like, deny Colossus tech. Like, kill it. Like, I'm fine with leaving the gateway if you want to go for a quick push, but yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting army, though. It's a lot of Magfield Accelerator Cyclones, a smattering of Marines, and then 3 Vikings. So this is actually so bizarre. Is there a battery overcharge available? There is just now 50 energy for that. Scan comes in, and we are going to see a lot of lock-ons coming in on that gateway. And, well, Scan will fade. Ooh, it looks like Ender wants to take a fight. He does have charge, but I do not think this is a fight he wants to take away from shield batteries.
What you also got to remember here is now there are a lot of charge lots on the field. Cyclones are fantastic against Stalkers. They're great against Immortals. They are killer against War Prisms. One thing they're pretty terrible about is dealing with charge lots. Charge lots are tanky. They don't have that armor tag, and they do a really good job of getting on top of these units that are meant to kite. Plus, they're honestly not the power units that you want to be locking onto anyways. So if Ender is able to take a good fight here with all of his charge lots, maybe that's something that he's actually going to be able to make work here. As if, look, all the Cyclones go down. That is a lot of oomph of the army, and there's a decent amount of Stalker Immortal behind that. That is going to deal with these Marines maybe just a little bit better, because we don't have Stim done. We barely even have Stim started here. So that is, of course, the win condition for Ender if he's able to knock down those Cyclones really quickly with his charge. But you got to remember, he is down on upgrades. He is down on army supply. And that's not the best situation to be in. And, of course, Steadfast, what did the man say about what you do when you're behind?
Dark Shrine. 1 Sean Tasteless plot. Sean Day 9 plot. What am I saying? Jesus. I was like, oh, I got his name right. Joke. And then, damn it. Sean Tasteless plot. No, went behind Dark Shrine. He does get a cancel on the 3rd command center. And that DT Shrine is looming. There is only 2 orbitals right now, but one of them's actually maxed on energy. So he's going to have, in theory, like 7 scans available by the time these DTs show up. Also, Rotsor's SCV production has been fantastic. Losing that 3rd command center really does hurt. Kind of limits his ability to take advantage of that, and we'll see the income. Actually, well, no, it's still in favor of Rotsor by a fair bit.
Yeah,
Actually, why is that?
He's up 20 SCVs. Also, Steadfast, he has this powerful thing called mules that make you overmine from a certain base. So even if you're, only mining efficiently out of 8 mineral patches, well, mules go bypass that anyways. And of course, that the maximum efficiency, sure, the most efficient way to mine is 16 workers, but you can get on up to 24 was the old visual cap. So of course, you can actually get incremental returns on up to like 24 workers. And now the Chargers are going to take this engagement, and look at this, they're going to get all the Cyclones in front of him, coming on in from behind. But no, Stim is now done. These Immortals are going to die here, so it looked like it may have had an opportunity there, but Rotsor's Macker really has been the story of the game here. That being said, these DTs, they're going to try to get something done, and most of the army of Rotsor is on the map at this point. So these DTs do have the opportunity to maybe equalize some things. They won't win. They won't put himself in a macro lead, I don't think, but they will certainly equalize here. Look at this, Natural's only has 6 mineral patches left.
Yeah, that's actually kind of comedic. Those DTs, it feels like they should have gotten so much more done than they did, but they only pick off 2 SCVs and a handful of Marines. And Rotsor kind of survives that very scary moment. And now he's on 1-1. Combat shields, stim, and concussive shells are all finished up. He's got his +2 armor on the way. Like you said, really heavily mining out. And that's a bit of a problem for him. But we'll finally clear out these. Oh, please, please, just kill it. Just kill it so it doesn't have vision. Please? Huh? Okay,
well,
he's gonna kill it, yeah. I was so sure he was gonna pull away from it for some reason. But yeah, Rotsor is in a really, really great spot right now.
He is, and of course the questionable thing was, keeping all of his medevacs over the 2 Cyclones that were killing things instead of, the actual Bio army that heals things, but did not end up mattering at the end of the day here. And we talked about economy here. Ender now has been able to get himself to a nice probe count, has 3 bases, mining fully off of that, so he does have an equal lead. He's mining about, what was that, 900, 1,500 more resources a minute than his opponent. I forget how much each of those arrows are on the tab down below, 250 or 500. Anyway, he's mining a whole lot more than his opponent. Yeah, he's mining about 1,000 more resources than his opponent at the moment. And that is something, absolutely, but look at this Raven. The Raven is here, and oh, look at these force fields, but you gotta fight that! You can't just run away. The Archons are gonna get slapped down immediately. Storm is only 2/3 of the way done here, so that's not gonna be all that useful. And while that was maybe some great force fields, maybe those Archons should have taken some great shots here. There is just too damn much for Rotsor. He's been too far ahead in the economy for the last, I want to say, forever here. The 3rd base will go down. That nice eco lead that Ender was able to eke out for himself. It's no longer here anymore, and we're going for a base trade. But what's the cardinal rule of base trading at Terran, Steadfast?
Don't. That's it. Just don't do it. And definitely don't do it when your opponent has already started. Now, he does take down the 3rd command center, but he's already lost his 3rd Nexus, Natural Nexus going down. This is a ton of 2-1 Marines, by the way, with a lot of medevac support. And, well, War Prism trying to come on out here, but Rotsor is going to deny it. And, well, his primary target right now should be the Nexi and the Dark Shrine. You want to get let as few DTs out on the map as possible. There are 3 right now, but even if things do get hairy for him, he still has that Raven.
Now, the one upside here for Ender, assuming he is able to knock down all of these command centers, which looks like he will, we're going to see that command center start burning, and there are where are the SCVs? But anyway, yeah, all the command centers are now down, so if he can blink on top of and kill off this Raven, the DTs will absolutely win the game. So that's what we're looking on here. Honestly, you just suicide blink. You say, look, I don't really care about anything but my DTs at this point. I have my proxy base in the upper left-hand side. If I can get this Raven, which, by the way, is really far ahead of the army here. If he blinks on top, okay, he's going to notice. Oh. Good. Oh, boy. We said a second.
That was almost a disaster right there. Oh, man, it is still very exposed. Does he see it? He sees the Raven. Go for it. Oh, that was his chance. He could have taken it out right then. We'll find a lot of these buildings, and honestly, just killing off the buildings alone is, will win him the game eventually. Stalkers are baiting the entire army around, but a lot of them going down.
And the Raven, he gets the Raven!
Oh, the play right there. Where are the DTs? Okay, there are 3 DTs. Use them. Go. Just go. Go, 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 go. He cannot afford to lose everything right now. He needs to mine a little bit more to be able to afford an additional Nexus. 10 rolls. Click C. Click C. Oh, he's not going to send the probes back. He does have a bunch of probes in the bottom right, but that means no more Nexi, and he will be revealed. How many buildings are left? 1 pylon and 2 gateways, and the 2 gateways are being picked away at. Now we are going to see all of the build. Okay, yeah, 2 barracks, a supply depot. Kill the supply depot. God, this 1 barracks on the bottom right. Okay, oh, it's going to get 2 safety on the right.
It is.
Where are the DTs? Where are they? Okay, they're harassing the army right now. Oh man,
I am all over the place.
I am thinking that this is just going to be a sad loss for the Protoss.
Yeah,
he's only got the 1 pylon. It's only the 1 pylon. This is it. This is all that's left. He is about to be eliminated in a crazy game number 1.
Oh man, what a game! Yeah, I think you're just warping a couple more DTs there. I think that's the play. Only 3 is not enough to really crunch through it in time. But you get it to like 6, 7, and they just move them on the army once the Raven's dead. Yeah, I think that's what you do.
100%.
GG forgot to rebuild.
Oh. And additionally, even if he just gotten DT blink, would have been so useful there, because he could have kept blinking in front of the army and kept like getting these big slashes on it. That was actually an incredibly smart set of maneuvers out of Ender, considering how bad of a position he really was in.
Absolutely there. You know, we say the first rule of a base trade is you don't base trade a Terran, but he made it really close. Unfortunately, if that barracks had not found itself in the bottom right, like out of a dead airspace, if he'd been able to make it burn ahead of time, and I mean, he had SCV, or he had probes all over the place, he very easily could have just been, I mean, he had 4 pylons left, or 4 pylons left worth of money there, so you just ping-pong him up left, bottom right, up left, bottom right. That maybe gives you enough time to knock down the 2 barracks, because I don't believe there were any SCVs left. While there were, in fact, there was a lot of money there left for our Terran player. I don't know how much SCVs he had left to rebuild things.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't think it was very many. Like, it was... Yeah, definitely not a lot, at the very least. But damn, what a game to start things off. That was very, very cool. And looks like we are going to be having a ZVZ to start things. Wait, right?
Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, it's a ZVZ. Never mind.
Yes.
I think they told me.
Yeah. P-Fang versus Andreas.
Yeah, Andreas. Oh, okay, Ares. Why do people have different names on like their official submission than they do on the? Oh, it makes it's so hard.
It does. It makes it very challenging. Okay, Ares is a part of Shopify.
All right. And also, I did miss, but
okay. Sorry, I just need to.
Oh yes.
P-Fang is a part of Jane Street. Cool. Okay, we are now good. Whenever someone new joins the lobby, by the way, it resets the clicker, like the drop down.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Absolutely favorite thing.
Yeah, so I did misspeak slightly when I talked about where these teams were in the bracket. We are actually in the consolation bracket. We are with teams that were bottom 4 in the Swiss stage, so they are excluded from playoffs. I'm sorry. The tournament page that we use is not really differentiated between things yet. You can look at score, but so there's no solid differentiation yet. It's coming. It's not there yet. But anyway, this is a consolation bracket, so these are teams that are not going to play in the playoffs, fighting amongst each other for some sort of ultimate glory.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about glory, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And, well, here we go. Getting into game number 2. Spotting down in the bottom right position of Lightshade. Representing the Shopify Thrive on Changelings, it is Ares. Supporting the Against Malaria Foundation.
And his opponent in the upper left, in the red, trying to turn a 1-0 lead and double it. He's the Zerg player for the Jane Street Janelings. He is P-Fang. Going for a 14-4. No, never mind. What? 14.
No, it was okay. No. Shopify's up 1-0.
Wait, no. Ender.
Oh yes, wow, you are right. My bad. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Wow, my brain just derped very hard. Yeah,
So-
it is a 14, 13, 12.
What was that, a 14, 13, 12? Because
Yeah.
usually when you go 14, 13, 12, it's gas pool hatch.
He
And
went
this was
hatch
gas-
pool, hatch gas pool.
Huh. That's the That's
I
an
think that's an
interesting version
older
of that.
school build. Yeah. This might be a build where he just gets speedlings with it.
Well, yeah,
No.
that's the 14, 13, 12 that you normally do. That's the build that Scarlet killed Rogue with.
Yeah.
And that is gas pool hatch. Huh. Anyway, it does seem that it is well practiced here. He's going to send a couple drones on the way down to mine as if this was a absolutely normal and totally standard hatch expand build, 16 hatch or something that you would normally see. Now, of course, the tell here is when Ares gets across the map, he's going to say, wait a minute, you have creep. You have creep now, and I don't see the natural hatchery wiggling. So there are no queens coming out of that. And those two things should tell you that this is, in fact, 14, 13, 12. This is going to be an all-in of one of the more, or perhaps most committed varieties. Actually, the Zergling's coming out. Maybe that's going to tell him anyways. But the question now is, how much does Ares respond to this? Does he know how to respond to this? If you do not spend any energy of your queens on injects of creep spread, and you just put them on the wall, that's how you hold it. Of course, there are some fancy kind of pseudo wall scenarios I've seen hold it as well, but again, just don't spend your queen energy, keep them for transfuses, and you'll be absolutely a-okay. But again, the question here is whether Ares knows that, whether he knows how to deal with that, and he will lose an Overlord, it looks like. So that's going to make life a little bit scarier for him, as he will get supply blocked, and that means he's going to have to buy Overlords, not Zerglings.
Yeah, he does have 2 Overlords on the way, and kind of an interesting... Oh, wow. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Okay, Scout is going to come in here, going to spot 4 Lings actually going down there for none. Will start a wall here, but he needs a full wall right this moment. Ares, you need to pull another drone. Otherwise, he is... Well, he's just dead. Okay, there we go. Queen into the wall. Queen into the wall. No, he's not going to get the queen in the wall. Oh, but he... Oh, second.
Oh, no. And this is one of the ways you die to this, unfortunately. Unless you have some very specific holds. If you get a Baneling Nest really quickly, because you certainly have the gas for that, then that can work. I do like this wall in the main base, actually. This is actually looking real good here, and I do believe that second queen will eventually have energy for transfuse in about 14 seconds. I don't know. It's not going to matter. The queen's going to be dead sooner. It's a cool wall, but unfortunately, it's too little too late. There's just too damn much surface area. Zerglings, of course, streaming on in. And, well, this is a game. Unfortunately, Ares will be forced to tap on out here. It's going to be 2-0 lead for the Jane Street Janelings. And sometimes this is just what happens. You're not quite familiar with the build, and you die to it.
He is going to have enough money to get 8 roaches out, but yeah, it's not going to matter. And GG will get called. Nice job from PFOG.
Absolutely there. A good prepared build. Certainly something that, I mean, look, it works at the highest level. We saw Scarlet absolutely decimate Rogue with it. GSL Season 1 last year? Knocking him out of the round of 32.
It was right after he'd won a tournament, so I remember people being like, oh yeah, Rogue, like, he's the best player in the world right now. I think it was right after he won IEM Katowice, for winning Zest in a pretty dominant finals. And then, yeah, he ended up getting, like, absolutely bopped out of the tournament, and people were just real sad.
I mean, I was pretty happy, right? As a major Scarlet fan, she's the reason I got into StarCraft in the first place. I was pretty happy with that result.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, it was GSL Season 1 of last year. The season that Kiwian came back and got bopped out of the GSL 04.
Yes. Yeah, it is a tough format. Even more so now, I would argue, with Code A being just a single best of 5. And potentially knocking you out. Realistically, it's not really Code A. It's just the first round of Code S. But yeah, they called it Code A to be fancy, and that's fine. They can do what they want. It's their own tournament.
Absolutely. And I'm just sitting here. I knew what the map was, and then I got distracted listening to my co-caster, and I didn't know what the map was anymore.
Mission accomplished.
There we go. My co-caster, his voice is too mellifluous, and I can't help but pay attention to that over the stuff that I'm actually supposed to be doing.
Good word. Very, very good word.
The honeyed voice.
The honeyed, silky voice. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
And who do we have for this one? We have a PvP. And nope, PvZ. PvZ. My bad once again.
Yep, that we do here. As interesting, it appears that Yak is a former Google player. He's still rocking the 1E100 tag, but very clearly he is, of course, on Jane Street now. So that's interesting. Always kind of cool here to see how much the CEA can provide a opportunity for players or for people to change companies. We did, of course, see Google go, or Zero go from Amazon to Shopify, and it appears that Shopify, their B team, also stealing some people, taking Yak from Google.
I mean, that's the sign of a great company, right? Like, you're going and you're picking up players here, there, and everywhere. Always on the hunt for new up-and-coming talent. And, well, Yak he's got to be the race, right? He is the 4.7K?
Yeah. Masters 3, yeah, there we go. He's actually true Masters, as, you know, sometimes... Well, I guess that bug is not on the ladder this time. Last season, you saw a bunch of people like 2.2K MMR that were Masters because of a ladder bug.
Yeah.
And, of course, you keep it all year because, look, I finished in Masters. Yeah, absolutely, sure. Rock it. But we don't see that here, so I'm not going to be confused by looking at a player. I'm like, wow, this should be a mismatch. And then it's not because the border was not what the actual number was.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, it happens sometimes.
It does. This is going to be a really tough scenario for the Shopify Thrive on Changelings because they're down 0-2 and they have a very large MMR disparity to make up for. And now you and I both know MMR does not mean everything in this. Sometimes it doesn't even mean anything. But this is a really, really big hurdle to overcome, I would say. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we get on into it. But first things first, let's introduce our player in the bottom right, representing the Jane Street Janelings on match point. It is Yak.
And his opponent in the upper left, looking to start that long slog back to a game number 5 in the green. Of course, representing the Shopify Thrive on Changelings. Give it up for Cero.
Not Cyril, but Cero. And, well, this is not a PVR. This is, in fact, a PVZ. So Yak will know to go for that low ground gateway. And we're going to be seeing a pool gas out of Cero. You know, this is actually a build I've been tinkering with a little bit in PVZ, just to kind of, you know, disrupt opponents, and has a lot of utility because it can make them think that you're being a little bit more aggressive than you actually are. So you get that pool, lets you get a 6-ling, or at least the way that I've been doing it anyways. You get that pool, you can get 6 lings out with it. You grab an early ling speed, you stop mining gas after that, and your opponent either has to respect it a lot, or they can potentially die. Now, Cero is not going for an early set of lings here. He is going to be going straight up, most likely into a queen. And now the next question is, does he keep mining gas? What are your thoughts, Famwolf?
Well, considering we do have to imagine here that Cero is absolutely going to punch above his weight, or going to try to at the very least. I do expect to see some form of aggression here. I don't know whether this is going to be for Baneling Nest. Now, he is still mining in gas just a little bit there, and yeah, he has not pulled on out just yet. So I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see a Baneling Nest here, see some sort of Ling Bane bust. There's the opportunity that this is going to be some sort of like 1920 drone Roach all in, Roach Ravager all in. We're just going to have to see what Cero is here. I don't expect to see him go for a super late game, though, because, again, he is a decent amount of MMR. He's Platinum 2. His opponent is Masters 3. You got to assume that he's going to have something up his sleeve here, because realistically...
that was really important that he blocked that. Oh, when he throws the Roach Warren down in front of the probe. Oh, geez. Those lings plus the queen should have been enough to deny that scout. At the very least for the Roach Warren. May not have let him, prevented him from seeing that the gas was still being mined. But this is a really, really rough scenario. Now, Yak is going for a Stargate first. And that he should be able to pump out a Void Ray in time for this attack. and absolutely can throw down a shield battery, no problem. And it is going to be what you suspected, that 20 drone Roachling Ravager all in. Good call, Bamel.
Yeah,
it's almost like you you cast this game at a professional level.
You know what? Well, professional, that's a stretch. But I do talk about the game sometimes. I certainly don't talk about it in my sleep. No one would ever do that. 100%. No. But yeah, no, it is interesting. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, Sarah's going to have to get something done. But there's a reason. There's a really big reason why this build has kind of stopped. And, well, I'll give you 2 words that describe what that reason is. The first is Void. And the second is Rays, or more precisely, these quick Void Ray openers that you can get them fast. They're cheaper, they're better, because they're a little bit faster. So they really do a good job of knocking stuff like this down pretty easily. And Sero actually went into a couple of drones behind this. Went up to 23 workers, which is kind of one of those weird things where sometimes you see players like, I don't really know if I'm comfortable going this far all in, so I'm going to go a little more middle of the road. And because they don't fully commit, right, because they say, oh, yeah, I'm not just going fully all in onto this, it's going to be worse either direction. By kind of biasing yourself to a macro and all in at the same time, you're just kind of getting the worst of both worlds. But I do like this from Sero. He's going for some semblance of a queen walk, but imagine how much better this would be if this was a minute later off of 45 workers and like 11 queens.
Yeah, and kind of fortunate there for Sero, just outside of range, he morphs those Ravagers. But the Void Ray is still here. Now there's a Cyclone out. Corrosive Vials, one of them will actually connect, but there's shield batteries behind this. And yeah, Ravager going to get picked off very, very quickly by the Oracle. That bonus versus light, very helpful. Will actually break through at the front. No battery overcharge available, I don't think. And this may actually get a... Oh, no, the move command. Oh, jeez. Oh, that is not ideal. All the roaches go down.
Yeah, unfortunately, this attack happened before the queens have arrived. They are slowly waddling their way onto the other side of the map, but now they're going to slowly waddle their way back because it did not work. And there is nothing sadder than watching a bunch of queens just kind of go across creep here. The Oracle's going to find them even. Not going to take any damage because Sero must be looking elsewhere. But now we're going to see this Oracle fly in, and there are no spores. Well, there's a spore on the way, but there are no spores on the map just yet. And that means this Oracle can, in the words of something, get terrible, terrible damage. I'm quoting a movie, I think, but...
Yeah, it sounds like something an action hero would say, almost definitely. Unfortunately, the Oracle actually didn't have energy. It was at 25 energy exactly, which is what it cost to turn on that Pulsar Cannon. Now he does have enough energy to turn that on and run it for a little bit, run the generators, so to speak. And actually, if he gets into that main mineral line, yeah, it's going to be a lot of dead drones. And there it is, 2, 3, 4 drones going down. Oh, well, 5, there you go. And that's that's a 20% of the economy of Sero right now.
And I'm sitting here thinking, man, he could have gotten a lot. Wait, okay, there are 2 spores on the map. Where? Okay, that's a really weird spore location. I guess he's trying to defend his natural from some sort of Void Ray aggression, but that's a really weird spore positioning when you see an Oracle running across the map. And you know, Steadfast, that is 20% of Sero's economy. Totally fair. You're absolutely right on that one. But I did think that Yak was going to get even more than that, considering there was absolutely no defense. But a little bit of a slow micro there, and we didn't exactly see. It didn't reach its full capacity, but still. Lots of damage being done here. Yak doubling the worker supply. Yak up on army supply just a little bit. These Zerglings will not be able to delay this third base. Well, if the Stalkers and the Zealots get out of position, maybe they will be, but no, there's got to be too much here. Sentries are, in fact, powerful units. Did you know that, Steadfast, that Sentries do the most DPS in the game?
No comment. Yeah, they do, honestly, for flashlight based technology, they do very well. They tickle their opponents extraordinarily hard, you know? But it's gonna be a 10 gate charge lot Archon all in, and I mean, is it really an all in when you're on 64 probes and, you know, you're this far ahead? Okay, what's the scenario? Paint me a picture where Sero somehow holds this push.
Drones suddenly attack for 50 damage, have 200 HP each, and have the range of a Hydralisk.
Oh, wow.
Maybe then it works.
Damn, I am ready for these hunter-killer drones. Sign me up. I want to subscribe to Beowulf Zerg Facts.
Exactly. You know, for a while there, when I was really bad at StarCraft, I was like, man, it sucks that there's no way to make your hatcheries more defensible, right? You can drop spores and spines, but they're not the best stuff. So like maybe, I mean, it wouldn't be great if like I could get a hatch upgrade that gives it additional 5 armor and has like spines attached to it. When I'm like back in bronze, I'm like, okay, that'd be a little imbalanced. Let's be real here. But you know, I'm sure that Sarah would love something like that right now, just to be able to attach spores to his hatcheries, buff them up a little bit, long range spores that are just firing across the map. Now, I guess the other way that he holds here is there was a bugged map that actually showed its head. I want to say it was maybe King Sejong, a version of King Sejong that showed its ugly head, actually in the tournament setting at one point, where if you respawn on, I want to say the north side of the map, your static defense had unlimited range.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the map. That was quite the meme. But we are gonna see an absolute massacre right here at the Zerg's base. 25 drones going down in the blink of an eye. So many charge lots, so many Archons, so many Void Rays, couple of sentries, and a GG at the very end of it. And the Jane Street Janelings will secure a 3-0 in this consolation bracket. Very well done. That's a nice bit of consolation right there.
Absolutely. They're sitting there 2-0 in their own postseason in the consolation bracket there. So definitely looking rather good. And they're also, of course, 2-1 against Google teams this season, which is, of course, the most important thing. Because apparently Jane Street and Google have a massive rivalry that I was not familiar with. But, you know, we're going to go with it. And unfortunately, Shopify, their B team, is going to continue to be defeated over the course of this entire season. They are now 0-7 in 7 weeks. But, of course, they have 2 teams. The A team, probably one of the favorites to win this entire thing once again. So we're going to have to see what happens with them. Congratulations to Jane Street. Commiserations to Shopify. It's a 3-0.
That it is. But in CEA tradition, because at the end of the day, this is all about, building community. And obviously, these players aren't going to go on to win the GSL. Even with players as highly skilled as Yak there at the very end, looking pretty good. It's about building a community. It's about doing this for charity. It's about having a good time and celebrating the game we all love. So we are going to play that 4th map. We will bring you the coverage of it because these players have been practicing, and we want to give them the opportunity to show what they've been doing. And it will be a PvP. Little bit of pride on the line here, of course. We have the Shopify team with the opportunity to, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still going to show as a 3-0, but they have the opportunity to kind of, give themselves a little bit of pride at the end, fighting for that. And then Jane Street on the other hand, other side of that coin, the opportunity to deny that entirely.
Absolutely. So it's going to be Atomic Dog versus Peyton, or Peyton, I believe is actually how it's supposed to be pronounced there. So I know Atomic Dog exists. There we go. And where is... Please tell me he's... it's probably someone that doesn't have the right name.
Very possible, very likely even. And we have Peyton is... Atomic Dog is for Shopify. Oh, thank you. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Thank you very much. Putting that in for us. Atomic Dog is going to have a little bit of a tough time. Oh, wait. It says his approximate rank is Platinum 2, but he's got that bronze border.
I don't know.
So there apparently is still a bug then, it looks like. Because, yeah, when you click on his thing, it's Platinum 2.
Yeah, that's like one of those things that happens when you buff up. Oh, Bazooka Joe is Peyton. Why do you make this difficult on me?
It just be like that, It just be like that.
Sometimes.
And oh, sorry, go on.
Sometimes you don't. It don't be like it be, but it do. Anyway. But yeah, we do have Atomic Dog here, and honestly, it looks like with the bug there, kind of like when the ladder locks, and you rank up afterwards. You'll have Masters MMR, but you'll still say you're in Diamond, and I guess that's what's happening here. But we're in a new season, so not really sure what's up with that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but yeah, I don't know. Not exactly sure what to make of it. But
honestly, it's it's slightly impressive, right? Because bronze actually, when they redid the ladder back at like the start of Legacy of the Void, bronze kind of disappeared. It's like the bottom 5%, I think, of ladder right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's come on, give me this number. Thank you. Yeah, it's the bottom 7% of the ladder right now. So it's actually kind of hard to stay in there, to be totally honest.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not like League of Legends where it's like 42% of the ladder is in bronze and then another like 31% is in silver. Like being in gold actually means something. Like it means like you're in like the top 30% of the game, which is crazy. But we're not talking about League of Legends. We're talking about StarCraft 2 as we get on in to game number 4. The superfluous game, as it were. Spawning up in the top right position, representing the victorious Jane Street Janelings. It is Bazooka Joe. Representing the American Red Cross.
Absolutely, and his opponent in the bottom left, in the green, looking to play some sweet music to our ears. Put a map on the board for the Shopify Thrive on Changelings. Give it up for the Atomic Dog.
And the Atomic Dog is hitting us with something that is looking a little bit cheeky right here. He's got a very forward probe right here. Now, this is almost too early, but the cool thing about this is that it dodges the probe of Bazooka Joe. Bazooka Joe's probe won't see this coming on the other side of the map. Like, he won't see something. He won't see it going across the map, effectively. And, well, will we see the second pylon proxied or the third? What are your thoughts?
I think we're probably going to see the second done in there because, well, that just makes a little bit of sense because it doesn't matter at this point, right? Whether it's the second or the third from a actual scouting perspective, as the probe is now gone. Well, actually, no, it looks like the probe's going to hang around, look for a follow-up scout, so that will actually become useful at the end of the day here, and we do have that pylon. It's going to be proxied up here in the upper left. And now, Steadfast, what do you think? Is this going to be a Robo? Is this going to be a Stargate? Is this going to be a Gateway? Is this going to be, I don't know, Twilight and be a really weird proxy DT location?
Well, I was thinking Void Ray at first, but we only see 2 probes on each gas, and that's not enough for double proxy or proxy voids. And, well, I'm thinking this might just be a Gateway. That's kind of what my Spidey sense is telling me. It's going to be a Gateway or a Robo, though, almost for sure.
Yeah, this is a weird position for a proxy gateway to be. It's kind of not one of your standard rallying positions, and I guess that makes sense, right? You put something where people don't go. There we go. Will be a proxy robo on the way here. You know, they told us the proxy robos were dead Steadfast. They told us shield batteries killed it, but I do not believe them Steadfast. So one thing someone told me once is, you know, this idea of your main base has to be your base is erroneous. The fact that you have to build your buildings in your main base, well, okay, whatever. Because realistically, wherever you build your buildings is your base. So it appears that Bazooka Joe here, he has decided that part of his base in the bottom is the bottom middle of the map, and Atomic Dog thinks that part of his base is in the upper middle. So together, their powers combined, their bases span the entire map.
And who am I to tell them no? You know, that I'm not one to crush dreams. Only on the ladder. Certainly not in a custom game.
No, I believe in crushing dreams, Steadfast. That is how I live as a person. Now, what I do think is interesting here. So this is going to be 4-gate play, and we did see that pylon go on down on the bottom left, or bottom right, I guess. I guess this is going to be just for slow warpins. And you know what? I kind of feel like if you're going to get that 4th gateway, you might as well get it where your warpins are, so you can just get that much more here.
Yeah.
But here's the question, right? This has got to be really good for Bazooka Joe because, I mean, look, the power units that are going to allow Atomic Dog to really get something done here, well, they are on the other side of the map, warping on in. I'm sure Immortals are good, but if there are 4 Stalkers just kind of warping on into your base, what are you really going to do about it? The answer is not a whole hell of a lot here. Now the Stalkers are going to try to find the main base. And sure, there can be a recall with the first one, but you're only going to have 1.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have energy for that recall just yet. He is going to try and probe drill through. Ooh, nice target fire on the pylon, but has to be careful about getting surrounded here. Oh, but it looks like Atomic Dog doesn't lock the top part of the Stalkers in. Still will get a nice surround, but that's going to be so many dead probes. And where is the Immortal right now? Where is the Immortal right now? Did he recall
running
it?
Back home.
Oh my god, he walked it back home. Oh no. And that might be all the probes dead by the time it arrives. Well, 5 probes left right now. And one of them's in a gas. Oh no, he's gonna lose the gateway here. Nice job from Bazooka Joe, and it looks like we will be seeing very likely a 4-0 coming in here. Immortal will pick a fight.
I mean, Immortals are still strong, and this might be big enough. Oh, actually, no, the Immortal lost its heart and shield, so never mind. Immortal is just going to go down here, and with that, I mean, this game was over anyways. Sometimes it's just one of those things. Two players go for cheese, and what looks like in 2 games, Jane Street, they had the slightly better one. They had the one that matched up just that little bit better compared to what their opponent was doing. So going to be a clean 4-0 there for Jane Street. 3-0 as the CEA counts it. And that is going to be that. Once again, congratulations to Jane Street. Commiserations to Shopify. And, well, that's unfortunate. You almost never see a proxy 4-gate.
Yeah, pretty much never. It's just, you know, and just 4 gates in general. I don't think we've ever seen them in StarCraft 2.
Okay, Steadfast. That's a bit of a stretch. The amount of times I've died to a 4-gate is you're triggering me a little here. But yeah, anyway. Actually, I mean, even though you remember the start of Legacy, proxy 4-gates were all the rage, the flower power.
Oh, power flower. Yeah.
Exactly. Power of the flower. I love it. Steep in chat. So yes, StarCraft is a very different game from League. For instance, StarCraft is actually a good game. Now, those they're fighting words, but luckily this is CEA_SC2, not CEA_LOL, so we don't have to worry about that too much.
No, not too much at all. Whenever I think of League of Legends and StarCraft 2, I'm always reminded of that one image. It's like a stick figure on like the race car. And, you know, it's the 2 stick figures, and it's like StarCraft 2, and it's like GLHF, and they're doing their, like, very serious face, and they're controlling everything. And then it's League of Legends, and it's like 5 separate small stick figures, each controlling, like, 1 controlling gas, 1 controlling brake, 1 controlling steering, 1 controlling gears, yeah. And it's just like, they're all like, lol, like, this guy won't do stuff, and, like, report break after game, and just being being all kinds of cheeky, you know?
Yeah, just MOBA things. Just MOBA things indeed.
MOBA things.
But now, Steadfast, we're done with the games here for our first series of the day. But I believe we have an interview coming on up, potentially, if we got all that going on in. So that's always going to be a good time. I believe we're having an interview. I don't know. Do we have an interview?
I am trying to get an interview arranged with the winner of Jane Street Janelings, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, if that doesn't happen, of course, then we'll go to a break, and then we'll be back here in an hour. I believe, yes, we'll be back in an hour for the collegiate side of things.
Yeah,
there we go. So Steadfast doing God's work here, making sure that he doesn't have to do the work that I would otherwise have to do. Wait, make sure that he does the work so I don't have to do any work. I just get to coast by and sit here, actually stand here. I'm very happy I got a standing desk, which is very, very exciting.
That is actually really nice. Getting that blood flow.
Oh, it's fantastic. Actually, really the big thing there is when I'm casting for some reason, like if I'm sitting down, like an hour in, sometimes I'll just get like a wave of fatigue. I'm not tired, but I can't keep my eyes open. Like it's one of those weird, like, parts of me are tired, but not everything, and standing desk just totally fixes that. So it's real nice. I gotta figure out like proper webcam positioning. I think the aspect rate, the angle's a little weird with how I stand in this. I'm still working on that. But I mean, I'm also off a webcam, so what can you do? But it is nice. Highly recommend it if your company still has some work from home money. I think I found it was a pretty good investment, although my company does not have work from home money.
Unfortunate. Well, as we get ready for this interview, why don't you tell the good people where they can find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on a multitude of different places. You can find me, of course, on my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Beowulf. I do the ESLO Open Cup every Monday, or at least most Mondays when I'm not, say, building my new desktop, things like that. I also do a bunch of stuff for Alpha X, as I just recently joined them effective today, actually being announced today. Oh. So that's exciting. So I do a lot of stuff. Twitch.tv/AlphaXSC2 on their Trovo channel, their Afrika channel, and a bunch of stuff on YouTube for them as well. But of course, the easiest way, follow me on Twitter @Beowulf_SC2. That's the easiest way to follow me, see what I'm doing, see what I'm up to. I always tweet when, where, how, why I'm going live, unless of course it's the CEA, because I forgot again this week. Steadfast, you're supposed to help me with that.
Damn it.
But yeah,
Yeah. It's so tough.
blame Steadfast.
Hashtag blame Steadfast. Get that
Pretty
trending.
much.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Same deal. If you want to check out where I am doing my stuff, you can take a look at twitch.tv/steadfastsc. I am going to be casting the ESL Open Cup Korea tonight. And yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. You can check me out on Twitter, twitter.com/steadfastsc2. Yeah, there's just plenty of places that you can find me, I guess. I think join the Discord, but the best way to find that is through my Twitch channel where the link is. Yeah, you know the drill. But big important one, big thank you to the CEA for having myself and Beowulf on week after week. We got some nice breaks last weekend, of course, enjoying just some Easter, some time off. But it's lovely to be back. I'm looking forward to it, and we will be back in, first of all, with this interview here, and then after that, we will be back afterwards with the the Collegiate Esports Association in about an hour from now. For now, I'm going to sign off with Beowulf, and we will be back with an interview in just a little bit. The winning captain of the Jane Street Janelings. Hello, everyone. We are back with the logo from Jane Street. How are you doing? It is Will. Why don't you introduce yourself for the people at home?
Hey, my name's Will. Thanks for having me on here. I guess I'm team captain of Jane Street, the Janelings, and this is our first season. First season playing in the CEA as a team, so we're here to have fun, I guess. But we've won a couple of our matches too, so it's been really great. Personally, I've been playing StarCraft for a couple years as a dirty Protoss.
Fair enough.
thanks
Yeah,
for
it's
casting.
that's fair
That's
enough.
it.
Well, I mean, welcome first of all to the CEA. It's good to have you. I believe it's our first time casting you guys as well, so it's got to feel good to get a clean sweep and even winning that that fourth match, technically a grudge match at that point. So it is your first year. Are you the person who kind of? I mean, obviously you're the captain. Are you the person who organized the team? First things first, I guess.
Yeah, so I actually just started at Jane Street about a year ago, and previously I was at Google, where I played on their CEA team. So I, really enjoyed that, and then when I got here, I decided to try to set up something similar. So I reached out and got a lot of interest. It's been really great. We have a lot of active people now. So yeah, that's the story.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Kind of bringing the culture from one company and starting it at another. That's actually a really, really neat concept. Kind of spreading it, I guess, that way. So you mentioned you got a lot of interest from people. So I mean, obviously, there's first year. It's always a little bit tricky setting something up. Do you guys do any like scrims together? Do you practice at all? I mean, obviously, on paper, you're by far the best player on the team, but have you found a way to kind of, create a bit of community that way?
Yeah, we we kind of have a weekly schedule, right, where we get our matchups early on in the week, and then we try to do a bit of planning, and then sometimes we have practices on sort of Thursday or Friday night, trying to match people up, according to whatever they have to play on the weekend, and get everybody prepared. So this is kind of the tradition I brought over from Google. Google in particular is very diligently snoops and scouts on their opponents to try to get an edge and plans their builds. We don't quite have that down yet, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tricky to do that. Like, there's especially anytime you're like, I would say below like even mid GM. There's a lot of theoretically exploitable things in players' builds. Like, I mean, obviously you can only overcome a mechanical difference so much, but there are a lot of exploitable weaknesses. So things like the CEA, that research really comes in handy, and you can see Google does quite well with it. Now, you mentioned in your kind of synopsis sheet that you guys have gone 2-1 against them, and there's a little bit of a rivalry. Obviously, coming from them, that's got to be a nice source of pride. Tell us about that. Talk about what it means to kind of beat your former teammates.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm still in their Discord, and we actually still play pretty regularly with those guys. So as soon as we got matched up, there was some friendly jousting, I guess, and they actually banned me from their team chat for the week and created a replacement channel on their Discord called Kill Will, where we had a discussion about the upcoming match. So definitely has felt good to be successful in those specific matchups.
That is actually very, very funny. Sounds like it's all friendly though. Really, really great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great to see that even though you've like moved on, there's still like some good connections, and it goes to show I guess the CEA is in that sense working. Like you guys have built those connections that maybe otherwise wouldn't have been there. So that's really cool to see. Not to toot the CEA's horn too much, because obviously at the end of the day, it's still on you guys to do that. But it's really cool to see that the connections have been built and they're being maintained. So obviously it is your first season, and it did. You are in the consolation bracket, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's still you've got some wins. You have yourself as the ace. You got a pretty good team. What are your goals, I guess, moving forward with the CEA? Maybe for next season, maybe in the next couple of years. Are you looking to lead to a championship? You want to take down maybe the Shopify A team? What's the goal?
It'd be nice to do well. I mean, as I said, I sort of like reached out for interest at the beginning of the season, and I got a lot of people who were like, like, yeah, I used to be Diamond One or Masters back in Wings of Liberty, and I haven't played in 8 years, but I could give it a shot. I have some extra free time during the pandemic and all, and so for that reason, like, we've had a lot of people who have sort of been dusting off the rust, and getting better quite quickly. We have one guy who never played StarCraft before, but actually he played today, Pfong, who did his Zergling all in. He's a very good MOBA player, and so his mechanics. I can tell that if you put time into it, he's going to be extremely good because the mechanics are solid and he has a good thought process. So I think if we stick with it, we definitely could have a competitive team in the future.
Nice. That's something to definitely look forward to. Dota 2, one of the games that I respect a lot, and it's actually one of the games that I think you can make a strong argument for being harder than StarCraft 2.
Okay.
not in like a traditional sense of just raw mechanics, but because there's so much coordination that's required, and like even a single misstep, if you misstep a little bit as one player, you can just fork your entire team. Like it's very unforgiving. Now, of course, StarCraft 2, you just never get a break. So, when you're dead in Dota 2, it's you have time to relax. But StarCraft 2, when you're dead, you just leave the game. Like, that's my whole rant. So it's sounds like you guys are building a pretty good culture over there. Cool to hear. Is there anyone you want to shout out on the team that's kind of been stepping up, been doing a whole lot, maybe like has been doing some of that snooping for you guys, or anyone you just want to give some accolades to?
Really, all the guys have been great, really engaging and helping others prepare. We have Davin Onage Force, who's sort of our resident Terran expert, and Rotzer, who plays random, so is good at helping out with sort of all the races. Personally, I only know Protoss. I have no idea how the other races work, so I definitely rely on everyone to pitch in and help get people prepared.
Awesome. That is really cool to hear. And Rotsor had a great game. Came down to the freaking wire. That was absolutely nuts. Probably one of the best games we've had this season, I would say, for the CEA. So very, very cool to see. And I look forward to it even more so because he's clearly a random player that can, actually play random, which is we're seeing it more and more as the game gets older and older, but it's not all that common still. So very cool to see. And thanks so much for joining us. Before I let you go, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to, anyone you want to shout out in additional, any social media, anything like that?
No, not really, but thanks for having us on. Thanks for doing this cast. I look forward to going back and watching it later, and I like watching your other casts every week, so thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And have yourself a wonderful afternoon, and thanks very much for joining me.
You too. Take care.
Awesome. That was Will, or Yuck, from the Jane Street Janelings, the victorious defeated, I guess, since they're in the consolation bracket, but still a great match nonetheless from them. And the 4-0 scoreline doesn't really paint a fair picture, I think, because game one, like I said, it was literally down to 2 buildings left for the Terran, and they were floating barracks that had just barely gotten into safe zones. And on the other side, and then game 2, there was that drone that was 0.1 seconds away from completing the wall, and then that's a completely different game. And then game 3, what happened in game 3? Game 3, that one was a little bit less, that was a little bit more one-sided. But then game 4, the double cheese, just absolutely could have gone either way, despite it could easily have been a 3-1 the other direction. But yeah, that is going to do it for me for the CEA for now. We're going to leave the broadcast running, but we will be back in about 45 minutes or so for the collegiate side. We've got 2 teams that we haven't seen much from this season. As in, we haven't broadcast one of them, and I think the other one we broadcast possibly at the preseason. But it is going to be the Utah Valley University Riders of Brohan versus Weenie Hut Jr. StarCraft team from George Mason University. So that's going to be a fun one. From myself and Beowulf and everyone at the CEA, thank you very much for tuning in. And I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and hope you'll stick around for the next little bit. Stay safe out there.